Call to order the work session. Mr. Manzi, are you?
This is the ordinance to really adopt.
Pull that microphone next to you.
Madam President, this is an ordinance to adopt the redevelopment plan for the city of Laurel. As you know, we recently made the mayor and city council the redevelopment authority by changing some things around in the charter and then moving some things from the charter into the code. This is phase two of that plan, phase two of that process, and that is adopting a plan. And what this plan specifically does is makes the mall the #1 project in the city for major redevelopment, so that we can, if we need to, exert some pressure and make sure it gets done and done correctly. So all this does basically is it sets up a hierarchy of the programs and where the plan is with regard to each one of our RO areas, and gives you some examples of how the redevelopment would take place, and is the plan that the council needs to adopt so that they could exercise their power under the redevelopment authority to either float bonds, condemn, do whatever was necessary to clear the way for the redevelopment. Now, Mr. Brock is the one who drafted the majority of it, so I think if you have any questions other than that, you're probably best addressed to him, but I'll be happy to answer any other questions that you have.
We'll have a short question period tonight, but perhaps if you could be at the next work session, Mr. Brock, to answer questions about this, if we can just have some brief questions tonight. Or Mr. Manzi?
We'll be there.
Okay.
We're going to probably ask for you all to expedite this quickly, and I'll be in touch. So we may end up asking for a special work session to go over this if you have questions and to move forward on this quickly.
Get them lined up. Get the questions lined up for you.
Madam President.
Yep.
If that be the case, I'd ask that happen before May the 5th, if possible.
We can try and shoot for that.
Thank
you.
Madam
Smalls?
President, just procedurally, reading from this ordinance, there's a review process by the Planning Commission also.
Yes.
Am I correct?
On the plan, the Planning Commission would review and make, also give their recommendations to the council on the plan.
Right.
And they have to hold a public hearing, as do you have to hold a public
Right.
hearing. So we're talking about, I think the mayor in talking about processing it quickly would be, asking the Planning Commission to move as quickly as they can, hopefully at their next meeting, and then having the council hold the public hearing probably at your second meeting in May, so we can get adoption then, so we can start moving on this if we need to.
Okay. Mr. Les, any questions?
Let me just understand. When's your next meeting, Fred, for the Planning Commission?
It's the second Tuesday in
Okay.
May.
And when I read this, I read it through today.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need any recommendation from the Historic District Commission, as I understand this.
No.
The only thing is that they need to be aware of it because they need to apply the guidelines for any redevelopment area that falls within the Historic District. Is that correct?
There's only, I think, what are there, 2, Jack, that fall within the Historic District Commission? Main Street and... Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
just, it may only just be Main Street, Mr. Les, that falls
Yeah.
within the Historic District. The
Right.
rest is outside the Historic District.
Right.
But if you take a look in the ordinance, the majority of this is aimed right now at RO1, which is our city
Understand.
center.
Okay, but just so, full disclosure, I'll ask that we send a copy of this to the HDC.
Sure.
And they can circulate among themselves. Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Ms. Nicholas? I have no question. Mayor?
Just for public's benefit, and I know the council is aware, none of this is new. This is all information that's already been discussed. There's already been recommendations from the commission, from the Historical District Commission, all the commissions. This is us taking all of these overlays, putting them into one to create this urban renewal district in case we need to move forward expeditiously on some property.
Okay, if everyone's all set with that, then we'll close the work session and open the meeting in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Good job.
and City Council. Please rise for the invocation by Reverend Warren Litchfield, and then the Pledge of Allegiance by the Mayor.
Join me in a moment of prayer. Almighty God, we gather this evening hour to conduct the business of this city. We offer our prayer for our mayor, for the president, for the members of the city council, and all in authority. Grant unto them a sense of justice, strength, and wisdom as they perform their duties on behalf of all thy people. We especially commend to your gracious care and keeping all the men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad, our law enforcement and fire and rescue communities. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils that beset them. And grant unto each a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. Remember those upon a bed of affliction. Comfort those that mourn. In thy name we pray. Amen. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Here.
Here.
Here?
Here. Agenda item number 5 is approval of the minutes of the 9th meeting of April 9th, 2012.
Madam President,
Mr. Ricks?
I'd like to recognize the fact that I've talked to the clerk about a small adjustment in the minutes, and she has noted that she is going to take care of that into the record, and with that I move the approval
With amendment.
as amended.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls.
Aye.
I vote yes.
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 Yes. Agenda item number 6 is the report of the Mayor and City Council. We'll start with Mr. Les tonight.
Just going to mention that I had the pleasure of attending the Eagle Scout Court of Honor for William Lewis on Saturday at St. Mary's, and I also want to thank Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick for coming to our PGCMA meeting. It was held here at Laurel this week. I'm sure that Councilman Smalls will have more to say about that, but she came and reported back on the legislative session that's just concluded in Annapolis. That concludes my report, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Les. Ms. Nicholas?
I have 2 things to report. On April the 11th, 2 weeks ago, I attended the anti-bullying documentary that was being sponsored by the D.C. government. I also understand that that same documentary was put on by Governor O'Malley's wife in Baltimore last week as well. So that's something that we're looking into to hope to bring to the city. The last thing is I attended the nonprofit conference this past Saturday that was put on by County Executive Rashawn Baker, and they had a lot of their leaders there in various departments that talk about how to form a nonprofit and the different types of grants and things that are available. So as that information is given to me, I'll make that information available to the public if they're interested in forming a nonprofit. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Nicholas. Mr. Smalls?
Thank you, Madam President. As Councilman Les mentioned, I attended the PGCMA meeting held here at City Hall. It was my last meeting as president of PGCMA, and I happily saw new board members elected at that meeting. Delegate Jocelyn Pena-Melnick gave us some very detailed information about our budget and the legislative session that is still kind of pending its completion and closure. I also had the opportunity to attend the Maryland Municipal League's Board of Directors meeting in La Plata. We had the opportunity to see a presentation of La Plata 10 years after the tornado that ripped apart much of its downtown area. It was a very, very interesting presentation. And finally, I'd like to announce that the Environmental Affairs Committee will begin holding regular meetings beginning in May. I'll be contacting all of the members of the committee so that we can get that CAC moving forward. That's my report, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Mr. Ricks.
Yes, I have a couple things to report. I represented the city along with Mr. Grant from the fire department in providing food and refreshments for the Boy Scouts Jamboree on Saturday of last week. I would also like to thank Mr. McCullough and Public Works for the fantastic job they did with providing the recycling program that same day. I think it was there were lines of people down the street trying to bring their resources into the city. I think it was an excellent job, and I appreciate that. And I'd like to welcome my men and women in blue who are in the back of the room into the office. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. I'd like to wish Oliver from our cable station get well wishes, and also our own Mr. Ricks. I hope you're feeling better. I attended the movie Hop on 4/13. Nothing to do with the city. I wanted to see the movie. I also donated to the Laurel Recycling and Paper Shredding. Thank you so much for having that, Mr. McCullough. You helped my shed out a lot. I attended the MML board meeting with Councilmember Smalls, and the devastation, and I believe Laurel sent 5 trucks, and people from all over the state sent in trucks and equipment, and then what they call the angels in straw hats, the Amish people, just provided so much relief, and we're so happy that they're rebuilt. And some of it was just finished during the last year, I believe they were telling us. Saturday will be Earth Day. The cleanup, Mr. Lotsky, will be Granville Goody Lake House. I think that's at 11 o'clock. 9 o'clock. I'll be there at 11. And the Arbor Day celebration at Greenville Pool is on Friday at 10 o'clock, I believe. We'll be planting a tree. Okay, and that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor. Yes.
Let me do this. Thank you, Madam President. A couple get well wishes to our own Councilman Ricks. Glad to see Ed back on his feet, as long as Oliver Wilford, who is our in the cable studio, a little bit under the weather. Wish them both the best. Congratulations to Fred for a fine year as president of Prince George County Municipal Association. I want to thank Fred for all he's done in representing the city of Laurel and working very hard on all the 27 municipalities in the Prince George's County. We did have the opportunity to meet with the local board of trade last week, as well as local business owners. Roughly about 35, 40 individual businesses were represented. We had the opportunity to go over the economic development program, so I want to thank Mr. Brendel and Mr. Brock in particular for their work and their presentation. As you heard, we did have a free movie night at Partnership Hall, and I want to thank our Park and Recs division for putting that on. It's the city's 7th annual electronics recycling and paper shredding event. Had about 350 participants. It was held at Public Works. I want to thank Public Works officials for that, and glad that 350 showed up. We did have a meeting with our Monument Strategies, who represents us in Washington, D.C., last week to talk about federal grants, federal legislation, as well as they are also tracking some of the issues regarding BRAC. So a very good meeting, and I want to thank our council president for being there as well. Did have the opportunity to stop by the Empty Bowls fundraiser at the Laurel High School, which all that proceeds went to fish, and I want to thank them as well for thinking of them and working with them and donating money as well. A couple announcements. Did hear that City Hall in the Park will be at Discovery Park on the 25th, starting at 6:30 until 8. The Arbor Day celebration at Greenview Pool will be planting 3 trees there at 10 a.m. And on April the 28th is Earth Day celebration at Laurel Lakes, and it's a cleanup at 9 a.m. May the 5th is our Lake Fest, and May the 12th is our Main Street Festival. Tonight's the first introduction, or will be the introduction of our operating budget. We encourage the public and others in the room to get a copy. A very tight budget year still. We were able to restore the employee we were able to restore the employees' step increases this year. Although we couldn't do a COLA this year, we were able to put the step increases back in. It has some highlights regarding the summer jobs program and the voucher program, as well as maintaining the city services. So we encourage you to get the budget, take a look. It's online already, and be involved and participate and tell us what you think. With that said, you got yours. Okay.
Mr. Les and Mayor, if you'd meet me at the podium.
Let me do mine first real
Yep.
quick. We have a couple of presentations. The first one, I turn the mic over to Councilman Les and to the council president. We have our Volunteer of the Year citation that we want to present. And Cinnamon Fisher. Cinnamon, why don't you come on up? Cinnamon gave significant time as a volunteer to the city of Laurel, and we want to thank her and acknowledge her for that. I think you saw something in the newsletters and in the paper. She was so good that we asked her to come to work for us, so she now works here in the city of Laurel, in the city administrator's office, part-time. We want to thank you and acknowledge your many, many hours of volunteerism to the city of Laurel. Congratulations. She said thank you. No remarks.
All the men and women of the Laurel Police Department to join us over here. Am I right? And that's sworn and unsworn.
Sworn at. Sworn and sworn at.
This evening, we have the privilege of honoring and recognizing the men and women of the Laurel Police Department who have dedicated their careers to keep the city of Laurel's residents and families safe. Oops. As a group, we would like to recognize them as Laurel's April Citizens of the Month. The sworn and unsworn men and women of the department conduct themselves in a manner that supports, maintains, and defends the city's citizens and property. The protection of our citizens in the fight against crime is a 24-hour endeavor, exposing our sworn law enforcement professionals to serious danger and on occasion placing their lives in jeopardy. Over the years, numerous Laurel Police Department sworn personnel have risked their own lives to save the lives of others, distinguishing themselves with exceptionally meritorious conduct. The efforts of the sworn personnel are supported by the many unsworn men and women of the department, those that man the communications center, maintain records, and provide all of the other support activities that are most often out of the public's eye, but are an integral part of the department's outstanding operations. And if this isn't enough, many of our Laurel Police Department men and women are engaged in numerous volunteer activities such as Special Olympics, serving as volunteer emergency medical technicians and firemen, assisting in Laura's and holiday soup kitchens, working with the Boy Scouts, mentoring our youth in various youth programs, helping at the Winter Haven Homeless Shelter, working in our churches as counselors, and working to raise funds for numerous other fundraising activities for charity. We heartily applaud their hard work and commitment to serving this community. We thank all of them for their outstanding and dedicated service, and to our sworn we say stay safe. Chief. I have a plaque here that says Outstanding Citizen Award presented by Mayor Craig A. Moe and the Laurel City Council to the men and women of the Laurel Police Department for the community involvement, leadership, and efforts to improve life in the city of Laurel, April 23rd, 2012.
On behalf of the men and women of the Laurel Police Department, I'd like to thank you for this great honor. As you testified, the city of Laurel is very committed to community involvement. It's not just in the city of Laurel, it's within the state of Maryland and the greater Washington metropolitan area. I don't think there's any other agency that has the commitment, the drive, or the community involvement that the city of Laurel has and the police department has, and that's all inclusive of the agency, civilian, sworn, and everything. All the employees are committed. So again, thank you very much for this honor. And we'll probably display it in the station. Thank you. Sir.
Let's get a picture over here of everybody.
Mike, get him on.
Will that work?
I'll open the general public hearing at 7:19. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak? I see no one is wishing to speak, so we'll close the general public hearing at 7:19. Agenda item number 9 is the second public hearing with possible action on resolution number 412, a resolution to encourage projects within the city of Laurel to utilize local, women-owned, minority, and city contractors and vendors. I've read the title into the record for the second time. What's the pleasure of the council?
Madam President. Whoops.
Excuse me, you need
Mr.
a...
Ricks.
I move that we approve resolution number 4-12, and I'd like the record to also reflect that I'd like to co-author it.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks. I think
Second.
and Mr. Les. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this item on the agenda? I see no one wishing to speak. Madam Clerk, maybe we have a vote on this?
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Mr. Laz?
Yes.
Mr. Smalls?
I'd just like to say thank you, first of all, for your support on this. And I just want to point out that this resolution doesn't require that these groups be favored in any way by the city, but it allows us to use the city discretion to increase contracting opportunities for minority businesses, women-owned businesses, and local businesses. So with that, I vote yes.
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 I'll concur, thank you.
Agenda item number 10 is the second public hearing with possible action on Resolution 5-12, a resolution authorizing the mayor to join a consortium of Prince George's County and its municipalities to negotiate the cable renewal franchise agreement with Comcast. I've read the title into the record for the second reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:21. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Thank you. I'll close the public hearing at 7:21. What's the pleasure of the council?
Madam President, I move that we approve Resolution number 512, a resolution authorizing the mayor to join the consortium of Prince George's County and its municipalities to negotiate a cable renewal franchise agreement with Comcast.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls. Do I have a second?
Madam President, I second and hope the mayor will get our bills lowered.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. Any discussion? Madam Clerk.
Mr. Smalls?
I vote yes.
Mr. Ricks?
Aye.
Ms. Nicholas?
Yes.
Mr. Les?
Yes.
President Crary?
Yes.
Mayor Mo?
Agenda item number 11 is the introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 1743, an ordinance adopting the general operating budget of the mayor and city council of Laurel, Maryland for fiscal year July 1, 2012 through June 30th, 2013, and to levy property taxes and to authorize the collection of such taxes. I've read the title into the record for the first reading, and I'll open the public hearing at 7:22. Ms. Saylor.
Madam President, Ordinance 1743 is for the FY13 operating budget. It's a balanced budget of $25,741,067 with a tax rate, a real property tax rate of 71 cents and a personal property tax rate of $1.69. These are both per $100 of assessed value. They are the same as the FY12 tax rate. And there is the additional 3 cents in the special taxing district in the commercial areas. The budget was presented to the council in advance of the charter requirement of May 1st, and we will discuss it at work sessions on May 2nd and May 9th with possible adoption on May 14th. As the mayor said, the full budget is on the city's website. And if you do need a hard copy, you can call my office. We didn't get additional printed copies, but we can if someone needs them. We usually end up with too many left over, so we didn't go that route. But, excuse me, thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for all your hard work, Ms. Saylor. Agenda item number 12. Actually, we'll be hearing this with possible action on Monday, May 14th, as Ms. Saylor said, at 7 o'clock. Agenda item number 12 is the introduction and first public hearing on ordinance number 1745, an ordinance to approve and adopt urban redevelopment plan for the city of Laurel and providing an effective date. I've read the title into the record for the first reading. I'll open the public hearing at 7:24. I have no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone wishing to speak? I'll close the public hearing at 7:24. The second public hearing with possible action will be on Monday, May 14th, 2012 at 7 p.m. Agenda item number 13. The following statement is made regarding the adjournment of the Laurel City Council to executive session on this date to discuss a legal matter. The reason for adjourning to executive session is to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice. The legal authority for this executive session is contained in the State Government Article of the Maryland Code, Section 10-508A7. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Mr. Les,
I move that we adjourn to executive session.
do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. We'll need Ms. Crook, Mr. Manzi, Ms. Mills, and Mr. Brock, Mr. Brendel,
Mr.
Call the
Ladd?
roll.